The Christmas turkey had turned out perfectly. Golden brown skin, moist meat that fell off the bone, and my secret sage and rosemary stuffing that everyone raved about year after year. I'd spent most of Christmas Eve preparing it, along with mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce from scratch, and my grandmother's famous green bean casserole. Mom had contributed nothing but complaints. The house was too cold. The decorations weren't like when Dad was alive. The neighbors' Christmas lights were tacky. I'd tuned her out, as I'd learned to do in the 3 years since I'd moved back home after college. Originally, it was supposed to be temporary, just until I found a job. But then Mom lost hers, and the mortgage payments fell behind, and suddenly I was the one keeping the house afloat. "You're cutting the turkey wrong," Mom said, wine glass in hand. It was her third since noon. "Your father always carved it along the grain." I ignored her, continuing to slice the bird the way I always did. The table looked beautiful. I'd used the good china, polished the silver, even found some old Christmas crackers in the basement storage. My younger sister Ellie was home from college, and my brother Michael had driven in from Pittsburgh with his fiancée Jade. It was the first time we'd all been together in over a year. "This is amazing," Jade said, helping herself to more potatoes. "Sarah, you've outdone yourself." "Thanks." I smiled, finally sitting down to enjoy the meal I'd spent hours preparing. "Merry Christmas, everyone." We clinked glasses, and for a moment, everything felt normal, happy even. Michael was telling a story about his new job, Ellie was showing off pictures from her semester abroad, and Mom seemed almost content. I took a bite of turkey, savoring the flavor. That's when she said it. "You need to move out," Mom announced, mid-bite of the Christmas turkey. The table went silent. 5 pairs of eyes turned to her. "Excuse me," I said, certain I'd misheard. "It's time for you to leave," she continued, dabbing her mouth with a napkin. "I'm selling the house. Moving to Florida with Richard." "Richard? Her golf instructor? The one she'd mentioned maybe twice in passing?" "Really?" I replied, keeping my voice calm. "I pay the rent, cover the bills, and buy all the groceries." "It's still my house," she said, her tone dismissive. "And I need the equity for retirement. Richard has a condo in Boca." Michael and Ellie exchanged uncomfortable glances. Jade stared intently at her plate. "When?" I asked, my appetite vanishing. "End of January," Mom replied, helping herself to more wine. "I've already signed the papers." The rest of dinner passed in a blur. Michael tried to salvage the conversation, asking Mom about her plans with Richard. Ellie shot me sympathetic glances across the table. Jade, bless her, kept refilling my wine glass without being asked. I barely tasted the pumpkin pie I'd baked that morning. My mind was racing. January was less than 2 weeks away. Where would I go? What about all the furniture I'd bought? The renovations I'd paid for? The garden I'd spent 2 summers cultivating? "You could stay with us until you find a place," Michael offered as we cleared the dishes. "The guest room isn't much, but..." "Thanks." I cut him off, not wanting to burden him and Jade with my problems. "I'll figure something out." After everyone left, I sat alone in the living room, staring at the Christmas tree I'd decorated. The lights blurred through my tears. 3 years of my life. 3 years of paychecks poured into this house, keeping it from foreclosure, maintaining it, improving it. 3 years of putting my own dreams on hold. Mom stumbled in around midnight, tipsy from the after-dinner brandy she'd been nursing since dessert. "You're still up?" she frowned, as if I were the one who had done something wrong. "Were you ever going to tell me?" I asked. "Or were you going to wait until the moving truck showed up?" She shrugged, dropping into Dad's old recliner. "I didn't want to ruin Christmas." I laughed, the sound bitter even to my own ears. "Mission accomplished." "Don't be dramatic, Sarah. You're 32. It's time you lived your own life anyway." My own life. The life I'd put on hold to take care of her and this house after Dad died. The promotion I'd turned down because it would have meant relocating. The relationships that fizzled because I was always too busy managing Mom's problems. "Richard says I need to focus on myself for once," she continued, oblivious to my thoughts. "He says I've spent too long being a mother and not enough time being Diane." Wow. I stood up, unable to listen anymore. 3 years of me supporting you, and you didn't even have the decency to give me advance notice. "Thanks a lot, Diane." She had the audacity to look offended. "It's my house. Your name isn't on any of the paperwork." That was true. I'd offered to buy the house from her multiple times, to refinance it in my name, but she'd always found some excuse. I went upstairs without another word, opened my laptop, and began searching for apartments. By 3 a.m., I'd sent inquiries to 5 different places, updated my resume, and drafted an email to my boss asking about that promotion opportunity I'd previously declined. When my alarm went off at 6 a.m., I hadn't slept a wink, but I knew exactly what I needed to do. I worked methodically, starting with the essentials: clothes and suitcases, important documents in my messenger bag, toiletries in a travel kit. I left the furniture I'd bought, the bed frame, the dresser, the desk. Let her try to explain to Richard why the house was half empty. The Christmas presents I'd received sat unopened on my nightstand. I packed those too. Maybe I'd open them later, when the sting had faded. My phone buzzed with texts from Ellie. "Are you okay? Call me. We can figure this out. Michael and I are furious with Mom. This is so unfair. Please don't disappear. We're still family, even if Mom's being terrible." I texted back, I'm fine. Just need some space. Love you. By 9 a.m., my car was packed with everything I cared to take. I did one final sweep of my bedroom, collecting the photos from the wall, the books from the shelves, the small treasures accumulated over years. In the kitchen, I made coffee and toast, out of habit more than hunger. The house was quiet. Mom wouldn't be up for hours. Her Christmas hangovers were legendary. I thought about leaving a note, but what was there to say? She'd made her choice. I was making mine. As I sipped my coffee, my phone lit up with an email notification. One of the apartment managers had responded. A studio was available immediately, no credit check required. First month's rent due at signing. It wasn't ideal, but it would do. I called the number, spoke briefly with the manager, and arranged to meet him at 10 a.m. Then I called my boss, explained the situation, and asked about working remotely for a few weeks while I sorted things out. She was surprised but accommodating. And that promotion we discussed last year? I added, I'd like to reconsider it. The Pittsburgh position? It's still open, she said. But I thought you couldn't relocate because of your mother? Circumstances have changed, I replied. I'll send you my updated resume today. As I hung up, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years, freedom. The weight of obligation lifting from my shoulders. The possibility of a future shaped by my choices, not by someone else's needs. I washed my coffee cup, dried it, and placed it back in the cabinet. The kitchen was spotless, just as I'd left it after clearing Christmas dinner. No evidence of my presence remained. Outside, the morning sun glinted off fresh snow. The neighbor's Christmas lights still twinkled, defying the daylight. I took a deep breath of cold air and felt my lungs expand. I didn't slam the door when I left. Didn't screech my tires pulling out of the driveway. There was no need for drama. The situation spoke for itself. 3 years of sacrifice ended with a quiet click of the front door latch. 3 years of putting someone else first, finished in a morning's worth of packing. I drove away without looking back. My car pointed toward a new life that was suddenly, unexpectedly, mine to create. The next time Mom saw me, it would be on my terms. In my space. By my choice. And that made all the difference.